Hey, what's up, TruExperience Nation? It's your boy Richie Mechanic. If you're new around here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We are on a mission here on this page, and it's simple. It is to help you learn how to experience your best life as we're learning to experience ours. We all about wealth, health, and experiences, and we are talking about habits. This is like lesson 16. We've been going over the book Atomic Habits. Very, very powerful, insightful stuff. And the one we talk about today, I actually unknowingly went into it a little bit yesterday. I didn't know that. I got ahead of myself. But today we're going to break down why this strategy is so effective on how to stick to good habits every day. We talked about consistency. Remember what we said yesterday? Remember? We said it ain't your knowledge, it's your consistency. That's your problem. We know what to do. Everybody understands that. Today we're going to talk about how to be more consistent on how to do that exactly every single day. This method works. Period. If you're struggling with something right now, you know you need to be doing something, but you haven't, let me know what it is. Let me know in the comment down below. Let me know what it is. On how, like, something you know you need to do or want to do on a daily basis, but you just can't stick to it. I'd love to know what other people have struggled with. And this method is powerful. It's powerful. It works because I've been using it. I've actually, funny thing is, this is the second time I've had this long of a run using it. And I've had several different attempts in between these two that, you know, they just never stuck. I never got into it and committed fully. This is the longest run I've ever had. And so I know for a fact it's powerful. I'm going to explain exactly why that is. So we'll start out with the story. The guy was a sales agent. Young guy, 24 years old, 1993, gets hired up as a stockbroker at a bank, new bank going in. And, you know, nobody expected much out of this dude. He a rookie, you know, in a little smaller bank. Man, isn't bringing in $5 million rather quickly. And within his first year, gets up to, you know, $75,000 a year, which at this time is pretty darn impressive, pretty impressive now. And then not much longer after that, six-figure income, and then went to another six-figure job. He did one thing. He would do one thing every day he was at work. He made sales calls. He had a jar of paper clips on his desk, and every single time he made a sales call and hung up, moved a paper clip to the other jar. Made another sales call, moved a paper clip to the other jar. See, he didn't stop until this jar was empty and this jar was full. That's how he kept track of what was going on. That was the one thing he did every single day because the most important thing he could do was make sales calls. So he couldn't do nothing else until that process got done. Guys, making progress is satisfying. And when you're keeping track of it and you have a visual representation of that progress, it backs up and gives you evidence of that. See, it's easy sometimes to fool yourself. Like, yeah, I did some work. I made some sales calls, but you know, you're not really sure how many, or you're not sure if you could have done some more. Well, having that visual representation gives you evidence of your progress, and it makes it satisfying. It makes you feel good. Real easy. You need to have a habit tracker. What's a habit tracker? Well, it's a simple method for keeping track of your habits to show that you've done your habit. Every single day you do your habit, you track it. Powerful part about this is that people tend to be really successful when they're tracking their habits. See, it leverages the 3 laws of behavior change. We mentioned the paper clips. Remember I said in the last video, we talked about kids with marbles and how it reinforces and all that kind of stuff. And I said I do X's on the calendar. It's probably one of the most simplest forms of habit tracking. It doesn't require anything fancy or too much extra. I've got a dry erase board that I put up every month. You know, I'll change the date every month and keep track. But then I also have a number. So like when the month runs over, I keep going. And so when I've done a habit for so long where it starts to become a part of my identity and it's habitual, I move to the next one and I start tracking that. I still keep track of both because I like that. But it leverages the 3 laws of behavior change. We already know there's 4. There's 4 laws of behavior change, and this method leverages 3. That's a big deal. That's powerful. The first one is it's obvious, it's attractive, and it's satisfying. So let's talk about benefit 1. It's obvious. Well, every time you're tracking and you've got these marbles or paper clips, or you're putting X's on the calendar, Those are visual representation, man. That gives you a cue that you need to do the habit. You come down, you open up your calendar, and you got a bunch of X's. It's your cue. It's going to remind you that you need to keep doing something. You got marbles on the desk. It starts to act as a visual cue. And like I was saying, people who keep track, they tend to make more progress than those who don't. See, there was a study done of like 1,600 people. The people who kept a food journal, tracked what they was eating, lost twice as much weight as those who didn't. I don't know about y'all, but 2 times as much weight, that's a big deal. That's a lot more progress just for writing something down. You see, a lot of times we can trick ourselves to think that we really taking that action. Man, I'll just keep up track. I'll just eat better. I'll keep up with my head. I'll remember to do it. But we tend to get a little fuzzy on our actual behaviors and what was actually going on. And by tracking it makes it extremely clear. Remember, we're all about clarity. Tracking makes things clear. Also, with you keeping track and being able to see that it acts as it can spark you for change. Okay, if you're just kind of eating, you're grazing in the kitchen, you want to be healthier and you're doing pretty good and you've had a salad and you might pick up this little cookie or that little cookie and not think much about it. But when you're tracking it and you do things, especially when you got bad habits, you do things you're not aware of. Well, when you become aware, you're just kind of like, whoa, wait a second, maybe I need to change this. Remember what we said before. Just because you've done something one way, only way so you ever done it, doesn't mean it's the only way it can be done. Doesn't mean it's the best way, and it doesn't mean it's the way it should be done. And by you stepping back and tracking what's going on and what you're doing can really make you take pause and realize like, hey, you know what? I could be more efficient at this, or I could be better at this, or I need to stop doing this completely. That's just one of the most powerful things about habit tracking. Let's move on to the second benefit. It is attractive. I say this all the time. The best form of motivation is progress. That's attractive. Progress is attractive. And when it's attractive, then you're going to be more motivated to continue to take action. When I walk in and I see a blank square, I'm all about, like, I've got to fill in that square. Makes you feel good. Like being able to see the progress and then know that you've made progress towards that makes you feel good. It's especially powerful on a bad day. So when you have a bad day, man, we always say it, show up on your bad days. Those are almost more important than your good days. And it's easy to take action when you're pumped up and motivated. Anybody can do that. Everybody does that. Everybody shows up when they feel good. But do you show up when you feel bad? And if you're tracking stuff, you tend to focus on the process more than the results. It's about just getting it in. Okay, that's why motivation is the best form, or progress is the best form of motivation. When you're keeping track of it, you want to keep on doing that. On a bad day can be more hurtful to your progress than a good day is towards your progress. And a good day is helpful towards your progress. Does that make sense? So you don't want to be skipping none. And so it doesn't come about being perfect. It matters about just showing up and getting it done. And if you're on the habit tracker, that's what you're focused on. Let's move to the third benefit. We're flying through these. This makes sense. Third benefit, satisfying. It's probably the most crucial benefit that we got in here. It becomes, and like I said the other day, it becomes its own reward. So we talked about in the fourth law of behavior change is make it satisfying. That ties the loop together. Makes you feel good. Like if something doesn't feel good, you're not going to repeat it. A simple thing as marking off X's on a calendar or putting marbles in the jar, moving paper clips over, or whatever form you tend to use to track your progress, it feels good. It's rewarding to know. It's good to be able to stop and look back, especially on these bad days, and you look back and say, man, you know what? I've actually come this far. I've actually done this much stuff. It allows you to keep an eye on the ball. It allows you to hone in and focus on what's important, not the actual process and not the results. Because remember, we're just talking about getting the X on the board. That's it, nothing else. Showing up. A lot of people tend to make a mistake. They tend to track too much. You only want to track your most important thing, one thing at a time. There's one thing you need to be doing that's going to help make progress in whatever area of life you're going for. If it's relationship, narrow it down to one. If it's financial, narrow it down to one. If it's with your business, narrow it down to one. One and only one habit you need to be doing. Figure out what that is for you. We've got videos to talk about. If you need help doing that, you let me know. But you've got to narrow down what you got where you're thinking big and going really tiny, itty bitty small. And that needs to be your habit. You need to lock in on that. Once you figure that out, this helps you to do that. This helps you to keep you from getting, sidetracked with other stuff and feeling down based off the progress. See, it's not about getting abs. It's about becoming the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. And so that's what's important to do with this thing right here. We want you to be able to get back on track when that fails. Okay, and so we want to track, and it's better to track one thing than it is to sporadically track 10. Okay, consistently check one, better than occasionally tracking 10. Now, you're going to fall short of that sometimes, and you're going to fall short and get down in a rut, and you're going to miss. What happens when you miss? You got to recover quickly. The faster you can bounce back, the better off you're going to be. Here's one very simple rule. You've heard me say it time and time again. Never miss twice. Never miss twice, man. I don't care if you wake up sick one day and you're not feeling good, or travel plans or whatever helps you, keeps you from taking action. Whatever. But you need to do every single thing in your power to start the next streak. Now, it comes more about filling out the streak than it does about being perfect. See, Jerry Seinfeld, I'm sure you've heard this before, he had a deal where he wanted to write a joke a day. He didn't focus on if the joke was good or if the joke was bad. The goal was just to write a joke a day, period. In that process, he started to write good jokes. See, if you talk about you got to be creative or you got to be perfect, or we get so locked up in this all or nothing that, we tend to not do anything. That was one of my biggest problems, and sometimes still can be. I think, well, I want to do this action, but I'm not ready to commit to everything that I got to do, so I'm not ready yet. I'm trying to go way too big, man. When people want to start working out, they think they need 45 minutes to an hour. I just don't have time to commit to going to an hour to the gym. I just can't fit it in right now. They're not thinking how powerful it is to fit in 10 minutes. Heck, even 5 minutes. See, they think they got to go all out. You don't have to go all out. You don't have to be perfect. But when you mess up and you miss a day, you got to get right back up and you have to go the very next day. Here's what's funny about it. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice starts a new habit. So many times this has plagued me. You know how I said at the beginning where I started out doing this habit tracking method, went really well. I slowly teetered off and I tried to bring it back and start over, and I never really committed. It didn't pan out. That was part of the process. I was trying to do too much. I was trying to go too big, too fast, and I had to take it all the way back, start from scratch, start small, focus on that, and build back out. Way further along this time than I ever did last time. And that was one of the big things. I don't miss any days. For me, when I start habits, I'm doing them daily. But forget this all or nothing. Do what you can. Don't miss 2 days in a row. Yeah. The next thing is make sure you're picking the right measurement. And then I'll end it with this. Picking the right measurement. So we say it all the time. We do run a, like a support group when it comes to like health and workouts and challenges and all that kind of stuff. People trying to lose weight. The number one thing that kills people, man, is the focus of the number on the scale. Right? And they look as a form of measurement. You can't let the measurement or the number become the obsession. Because when you do that, you tend to lose sight of the overall goal, which is the identity you're trying to associate with that person. It's not about the number on the scale. It's not about how many sales calls you make. It's that you did the action. When you get addicted to the measurement, it turns into a bad measurement. And if you have bad measurements, you get bad behavior. Here's an example. When you're looking at the scale, if you're completely driven by nothing more than the number on the scale, you'll do whatever it takes to win that game. Your body is going to try to figure out ways to win the game that it's playing. So if that means doing a super hard crash diet or some kind of like super harsh, cleanse juice diet or something like that, because you're solely focused on that quick result, you're focused on that number, you're not focused on the overall health. You're missing the point. And sometimes when you have that measurement like that, you need to find another way to track your progress. If you're not satisfied with the measurement you've got, with the number on the scale, if it's not moving the way you want or changing, then you need to look for other ways to track progress. And that's in anything. So when people are doing sales calls and reaching out to folks, they tend to think about how many yeses they get, how many clients they close, and they're trying to judge their success on that, when they should just be tracking the fact that they're showing up anyway, period. Action-driven, not result-driven. That's the measurement. That should always be the measurement. The measurement should always be becoming the type of person that can reach those numbers on the scale, or have those numbers on the scale, or reach those type of sales quotas. You just show up, you put it into reps, and having a habit tracker is one of the most powerful forms. I'm a very strong advocate of this. People tend to not want to track habits because they think there's 2 habits they got to do. They got to, 1, do the habit, and then they got to get in the habit of tracking it. One quick tip, right after you finish, do it, because that seals the loop. That's your satisfaction. Right when you're done with the habit, then you put the X down. Then you track in your food journal. Then you track your workout. Whatever it is that you got going on. Did a sales call, move the marble. Immediately. And it'll be nothing to it. That's easy. We talked about habits being able to do in 2 minutes. That might be the key that helps you unlock your potential. Buying a calendar and just marking it off every single day with one action. You combine that with all the other stuff we talked about, and you're going to be well on your way to achieving really whatever you want. It's going to be somebody from getting out of just motion and putting you right into action. Let's see. What are we going to talk about tomorrow? Oh, we're not going to talk about anything. Well, So we're going to wait, and I'm going to cover this book finish up this book next week, because we only got like one chapter, something small, a couple chapters left, Advanced Techniques. I am flying out to the Bahamas early in the morning. You already know you're going to get a live video from me. It's just going to be later on in the day, and I have no idea what it's going to be about, but it's going to be valuable, and it's going to be good, because that's how we roll. So look, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value from it. And guys, I hope you actually use these techniques. Just don't come here and listen for the sake of listening. The point is to help give you the tools necessary to build your own blueprint. Not to give you a blueprint, to give you the tools so you can build your own blueprint. Your life is designed different from mine. What you want out of your life is different from mine. I don't know what you want in your house. My house works great for me. You might have some other things you want to change. And if I just give you my carbon copy blueprint, you're going to look at it and think, well, this is nice, but it don't fit me. I want something different. But you're trying to make changes, but nothing really fits because you don't have the formula to build your own blueprint. That's what our goal here is on this channel. That's what it means to be able to experience your best life. More than that, learn how to experience your best life so that you can be the full architect from the ground up, adaptable to any situation and circumstances. And so that's the goal here. I think this book is one of the foundational principles to help do that, because it can help you change every aspect of your life if that's something you desire to do. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you like this. I hope you enjoyed this. And until tomorrow, guys, I'm out.